to E. Fitzgerald, Tiresias, Alfred, Lord Tennyson, old Fitz, who from your suburb grange, where once I tarried for a while, glance at the wheeling orb of change, and greet it with a kindly smile. Whom yet I see as there you sit beneath your sheltering garden tree, and watch your doves about you flit, and plant on shoulder, hand, and knee, or on your head their rosy feet, as if they knew your diet spares whatever moved in that full sheet let down to Peter at his prayers. Who live on milk and meal and grass. And once for 10 long weeks I tried your table of Pythagoras, and seemed at first and quo, a thing enskied, ampersand quo, as Shakespeare has it, airy light to float above the ways of men, then fell from that half-spiritual height chilled, till I tasted flesh again one night when earth was winter beak, and all the heavens flashed in frost. And on me, half asleep, came back that wholesome heat the blood had lost, and set me climbing icy caves and glaciers, over which there rolled to meet me long-armed vines with grapes of Eshka hugeness for the cold without, and warmth within me, wrought to mood the dream. But none can say that Lenten fare makes Lenten thought who reads your golden Eastern lay, than which I know no version done in English more divinely well. A planet equal to the sun which cast it, that large infidel your Omar, and your Omar drew full-handed plaudits from our best in modern letters, and from two old friends outvaluing all the rest, two voices heard on earth no more. But we old friends are still alive, and I am nearing 74, while you have touched at 75, and so I send a birthday line of greeting. And my son, who dipped in some forgotten book of mine with sallow scraps of manuscript, and dating many a year ago, has hit on this, which you will take, my Fitz, and welcome, as I know, less for its own than for the sake of one recalling gracious times, when, in our younger London days, you found some merit in my rhymes, and I more pleasure in your praise. Tiresias, I wish I were as in the years of old, while yet the blessed daylight made itself ready through both the roofs of sight, and woke these eyes, now dull, but then so keen to seek the meanings ambushed under all they saw, the flight of birds, the flame of sacrifice, what omens may foreshadow fate to man and woman, and the secret of the gods. My son, the gods, despite of human prayer, are slower to forgive than human kings. The great god Ares burns in anger still against the guiltless heirs of him from Tyre or Cadmus, out of whom thou art, who found beside the springs of theirs, smote, and stilled through all its folds the multitudinous beast the dragon, which our trembling fathers called the god's own son. A tale, that told to me, when but thine age, by age as winter white as mine is now, amazed, but made me yearn for larger glimpses of that more than man which rolls the heavens, and lifts and lays the deep, yet loves and hates with mortal hates and loves, and moves unseen among the ways of men. Then, in my wanderings all the lands that lie subjected to the Heliconian ridge have heard this footstep fall, although my wont was more to scale the highest of the heights with some strange hope to see the nearer God. One naked peak? The sister of the sun would climb from out the dark, and linger there 30 to silver all the valleys with her shafts. There once, but long ago, fivefold thy term of years, I lay. The winds were dead for heat, the noonday crag made the hand burn, and sick for shadow. Not one bush was near. I rose following the torrent till its myriad falls found silence in the hollows underneath. There in the secret olive glade I saw Pallas Athene climbing from the bath in anger. Yet one glittering foot disturbed the lucid well. One snowy knee was pressed against the margin flowers. A dreadful light came from her golden hair, her golden helm and all her golden armor on the grass, and from her virgin breast, and virgin eyes remaining fixed on mine, till mine grew dark forever. And I heard a voice that said ampersand quo, henceforth be blind, for thou hast seen too much, and speak the truth that no man may believe. Ampersand quo. Son, in the hidden world of sight that lives behind this darkness, I behold her still beyond all work of those who carve the stone, beyond all dreams of godlike womanhood, ineffable beauty, out of whom, at a glance and as it were, perforce, upon me flashed the power of prophesying. But to me no power so chained and coupled with the curse of blindness and their unbelief, who heard and heard not, when I spake of famine, plague, shrine-shattering earthquake, fire, flood, thunderbolt, and angers of the gods for evil done in expiation lacked. No power on fate theirs, or mine own. For when the crowd would roar for blood, for war, whose issue was their doom, to cast wise words among the multitude was finding fruit to lions. Nor, in hours of civil outbreak, when I knew the twain would each waste each, and bring on both the yoke of stronger states, was mine the voice to curb the madness of our cities and their kings. Whoever turned upon his heel to hear my warning that the tyranny of one was prelude to the tyranny of all? My counsel that the tyranny of all led backward to the tyranny of one? This power hath worked no good to aught that lives, and these blind hands were useless in their wars. O therefore, that the unfulfilled desire, the grief forever born from griefs to be the boundless yearning of the prophet's heart, could not stand forth, and like a statue, reared to some great citizen, whim all praise from all who passed it, saying, Ampersand quo. That was he. Ampersand quo. In vain. Virtue must shape itself indeed, and those whom weakness or necessity have cramped within themselves, emerging, each, his urn in his own well, draws solace as he may. Mensasus, thou hast eyes, and I can hear too plainly what full tides of onset sup our 7 high gates, and what a weight of war rides on those ringing axe-lessel jingle of bits, shouts, arrows, tramp of the horn-footed horse that grind the glebe to powder. Stony showers of that ear-stunning hail of ours crash along the sounding walls. Above, below, shock after shock, the song-built towers and gates reel, bruised and butted with the shudder and war thunder of iron rams. And from within the city comes a murmur void of joy, lest she be taken captive? Maidens, wives, and mothers with their babblers of the dawn, and oldest age and shadow from the night, falling about their shrines before their gods, and wailing, Ampersand quo. Save us. Ampersand quo. And they wail to thee. These eyeless eyes, that cannot see thine own, see this, that only in thy virtue lies the saving of our Thebes. For, yesternight, to me, the great god ours, whose one bliss is war and human sacrifice, himself blood-red from battle, spear and helmet tipped with stormy light as on a mast at sea, stood out before a darkness, crying, Ampersand quo. Thebes, thy Thebes shall fall and perish, for I loathe the seed of Cadmus. Yet if one of these by his own hand, if one of these, Ampersand quo. My son, no sound is breathed so potent to coerce, and to conciliate, as their names who there for that sweet motherland which gave them birth nobly to do, nobly to die. Their names, graven on memorial columns, our song heard in the future. Few, but more than wall and rampart, their examples reach a hand far through all years, and everywhere they meet and kindle generous purpose, and the strength to mood it into action pure as theirs. Fairer thy fate than mine, if life's best end be to end well. And thou refusing this, unvenerable will thy memory be while men shall move the lips. But if thou dare, thou, one of these, the race of Cadmus, then no stone is fitted in yon marble girth whose echo shall not tongue thy glorious doom, nor in this pavement but shall ring thy name to every hoof that clangs it, and the springs of deer slaving yonder battle plain, heard from the roofs by night, will murmur thee to thine own Thebes, while Thebes thro' thee shall stand firm based with all her gods. The dragon's cave half hid, they tell me, now in flowing vines? Where once he dwelt and whence he rolled himself at dead of night? Thou knowest, and that smooth rock before it, altar-fashioned, whereof late the woman-breasted Sphinx, with wings drawn back folded her lion paws, and looked to Thebes. There blanched the bones of whom she slew, and these mixed with her own, because the fierce beast found a wiser than herself, and dashed herself dead in her rage. But thou art wise enough though young, to love thy wiser, blunt the curse of Pallas, bear, and though I speak the truth believe I speak it. Let thine own hand strike thy youthful pulses into rest and quench the red god's anger, fearing not to plunge thy torch of life in darkness, rather thou rejoicing that the sun, the moon, the stars send no such light upon the ways of men as one great deed. Thither, my son, and there thou, that hast never known the embrace of love, offer thy maiden life. This useless hand. I felt one warm tear fall upon it. Gone. He will achieve his greatness. But for me I would that I were gathered to my rest, and mingled with the famous kings of old on whom about their ocean islets flash the faces of the gods. The wise man's word here trampled by the populace underfoot, they're crowned with worship, and these eyes will find the men I knew, and watch the chariot whirl about the goal again, and hunters race the shadowy lion, and the warrior kings in height and prowess more than human, strive again for glory, while the golden lyre is ever sounding in heroic ears heroic hymns, and every way the veils wind, clouded with the grateful incense fume of those who mix all odor to the gods on one far height in one far shining fire. Group of dashes. Ampersand quo. One height and one far shining fire. Ampersand quo. And while I fancied that my friend for this brief idyll would require a less diffuse and opulent end, and would defend his judgment well, if I should deem it over-nice, the tolling of his funeral bell broke on my pagan paradise, and mixed the dream of classic times, and all the phantoms of the dream, with present grief, and made the rhymes, that missed his living welcome, seem like would-be guests an hour too late, who down the highway moving on with easy laughter find the gate is bolted, and the master gone. Gone unto darkness, that full light of friendship. Passed, in sleep, away by night, into the deeper night. The deeper night? A clearer day than our poor twilight dawn on earth. If night, what barren toil to be? What life, so maimed by night, were worth our living at? Not mine to me, remembering all the golden hours now silent, and so many dead, and him the last. And laying flowers, this wreath, above his honored head, and praying that, when I from hence shall fade with him into the unknown, my close of earth's experience may prove as peaceful as his own.